yesterday or Saturday by itself. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Senor COVID, ¿cómo estás?
Was slightly better yesterday and today, better than Saturday, but today's not better than yesterday. So, I'm hanging in there. Sun's getting better. Wife has no taste, so she's kind of freaking out because she can't taste anything.
Well, I already knew she didn't have that. She's with you, right?
Oh. Set you right up. Hey, are you on VPN? Your video's a little jerky.
All right, let me just double check here. I'm probably connected on it. But it's so good. Everybody's feeling good. All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, getting there. Daughter's better, a little better today, I think. And, we're just, nobody's dying.
Yeah, that's the news.
Prices are kind of maintaining. But later in the show today, we got some juicy shit to talk about after we get through kind of what the market's doing. This whole Avalanche, Kyle Roche, crypto leaks thing is firing up. Took up a chunk of my day yesterday. So
I haven't dug in as deep as you, but the little bits that I see just paint this guy to be, I don't know what, put him in the Shkreli category or the, just the crazy business dudes.
Yeah.
That are out trying to upend the world since they were, over swirlied as kids and dumped upside down in trash cans. They're all trying to get revenge. It's scary shit, man.
Yeah. Well, and I think crypto leaks took some liberties with the facts versus the truth, and I'll get into it in a bit.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, Bitcoin at 2277, Ethereum at 1524. Everything's kind of maintaining. BNB is at 285, up 1.42%. ETH is up 2.13% in the 24 hours, down 4.16% on the 7-day. I did 2 Twitter Spaces this weekend. On Saturday with the Printer Financial folks, had a really good chat, just in general about DeFi and what's going on in the state of the market and et cetera. And then last night I had a great chat with a group of guys at Four Moons that are an investment group, and they also do they provide delegated staking hosting. So they are the servers when you're staking on Canto and Evmos. You can use their servers and delegate to them for staking. Anyway, had a great conversation about Canto, but then just in general, kind of DeFi information flow, managing it and all, and our backgrounds and shit. It was nice chat. But one of the guys is local, so we'll have to get together with him. Jason Alexander, really nice group of folks. So looking forward to meet Jason in person, and then see where that relationship can go. So,
well, that's great, because one of the things I've been sort of thinking about during what I call sort of the summer doldrums is that, I love to travel for work. I love to meet people. I love to go happy hours, lunches, travel. But what I've noticed is that it's just not the same. I mean, I've been, working out of a laptop or out of my headspace for about 20 years now.
Right.
And the pandemic just really set that in with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And, we just need more local contacts, I guess, is where I'm going, because there isn't a need to travel anymore.
No.
And, I'm not trying to declare some great epiphany or anything to the audience, but, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and you need to get out and see people. And if we could have a little group in Miami of like 10 people, let's say, where we would get together and meet up and trade stuff. I mean, in real world as well as virtual. Just to kind of, like Corey's another good example, over at Uplift. Guys like that, we just need to get more local people into the mix to kind of blend in better with, Zoom versus in person. I mean,
yeah, totally agree. Completely agree. I'm looking forward to meeting people in person. And look, we are in friggin' Miami, where a shit ton of crypto has moved. Investors have moved, infrastructure people are here. I mean, we should be more engaged. For me, it's just such a pain in the ass to get downtown. I used to have an office downtown, and I gave it up because after a few years of driving, 2.5 hours a day back and forth, it was just nuts. And no, without traffic, getting there is no big deal. So if I can start doing some evening stuff, some weekend events, meeting people in between, I'm definitely going to try to do more of that.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I run did it too. From like the Grove to say the beach is, you know, Miami Beach, anything going on over there at the hotels, conferences, you know, that's a good 45-minute, maybe an hour in rush
Right.
hour.
Right.
And I just got to get to downtown, which is like, you know, 6 or 7 miles, and then through downtown and then down MacArthur Causeway or down Phoenician or down Tuttle or whatever. It still takes up a good 2 hours of drive
Oh
time
yeah.
to
Yep.
go to a lunch.
Yep.
Okay. So downtown is kind of the Grove, downtown, even like, you know, a lot of people are out in Pinecrest, Palmetto, Grove, you know, Dadeland works, Merrick Park works, for meetups. That's versus, you know, having to schlep into an office every day,
Hell yeah. Hell
because
yeah.
that's no fun. I gave
No.
that up a long time ago.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too.
If I could chop her in at like 10, maybe I'd go for that, you know?
Maybe we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So,
So tell us what's going on with all this.
so yesterday, this account called CryptoLink at CryptoLinks Info, and at a website Crypto Leaks Info, and at a website called CryptoLeaks.info. Some anon folks posted an article that included video clips of interviews with this guy, Kyle Roche, who is a attorney, and thinks quite highly of himself. And you and I know, we both talk about the fact that we've had great relationships with attorneys in our lives, and they have been incredibly valuable to us. But there are some dicks in the space. Sometimes you want the dicks on your side, but there are some dicks in the space. So they published this piece, and the intimation behind the piece, the angle on the piece is that Avalanche, Amin Goon Serrer, I never knew how to pronounce his last name, who is the founder of Avalanche, Avalabs, Roche Friedman, the law firm, have been in cahoots to attack and take on Amin's personal enemies, as well as the perceived enemies of Avalanche and Avalabs. Bless you.
Thank you.
And the idea has been, or what was said in this article, is that this guy, Kyle Roche, has been essentially serving as Avalab's counsel, their firm has. And in return for that, they started out in the same co-working space together, and he was given, supposedly, what he says in the videos is basically 1% of the tokens and the stock in Avalabs, which is worth a significant amount of money. And that he has been filing lawsuits, class action suits against the perceived enemies of Avalanche, finding people who claim they lost money on a token and filing these class action lawsuits. And he says in the videos that the reason he does it is it creates a, first of all, it bogs them down and costs them money, but it creates a magnet for the SEC, right? Because the case will say, oh, this is a security, it violates the security laws, et cetera, and that becomes a magnet for the SEC to go after that project, with the idea that it keeps them from going after Avalanche, right? That actually threw off a few alarm bells for me, because first of all, there's a shit ton of players in this space, right? And it's certainly not a bad idea to have the SEC bogged down and busy doing other things. We've talked about that in the past as far as my perception goes. But the idea that somehow this will keep Avalanche and Avalabs from being taken on by the SEC seemed a little far-fetched to me. But the other thing that the article intimated was that the reason he was doing these lawsuits was to gather confidential data in discovery about competitors of Avalanche. Now, I don't think in any of the videos, and I'm going to go back and check them again, but I don't think in any of the videos that he actually says that he uses these lawsuits to get confidential information out of competitors. I think that's Crypto Leaks saying that that's probably why he's doing it. So there's a lot of insinuation in this piece that isn't matched necessarily by the facts of the interviews. The other thing that struck me immediately in the interviews is that, look, this is a guy with an ego. He thinks he has a big client on the hook in these, clandestine video recordings. And he's trying to brag, right? He's trying to brag that he and Amin are best pals, and that Amin loves him because of all the amazing shit that his firm does for his firm. And I think there's a bit of exaggeration going on here within the videos. Now, do I think this guy's an unethical sleazeball? Yes. Do I think that him representing, these class action securities, litigations is shitty, and creating cases like this as a strategic weapon for your allies is shitty and unethical? Yeah, absolutely, I do. But I think that a lot of this was probably a bit exaggerated by Crypto Leaks because they had an axe to grind.
Right.
So he talks about how much stock he has.
Can I say one thing real quick before you go on? I saw that Andreessen Horowitz, an investor, look, if they were in before he was granted 1% of the stock or tokens, it just wouldn't happen.
No, that's what I was.
Okay.
And that's the one thing I said in my tweet thread about it is why would they have given so much to him if they had money from Andreessen, right? And resources from Andreessen, right? And to me, that was kind of maybe a lot more of this is true about Avalabs and Avalanche in here. But I think it's important for people to realize, look, I've always said that Amin is kind of one of those pompous, cult figure, arrogant, egotistical assholes in the space that I'm not a fan of, right? I mean, it's just not the personality I like. Other people love that shit. And but I've always said that I thought it harms Avalanche. And I've talked to people in the Avalanche ecosystem that say, yeah, they wish he would just chill the fuck out because he's obnoxious and annoying, and he gives a bad look for the whole chain. They're not going to say that to him, but that's what they say. So I'm not a big fan of his, but at the same time, I don't think it's fair of us to assume that a bragging attorney who may or may not be exaggerating shit is direct evidence of them conspiring to do these lawsuits. Do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Do I think this guy's a scumbag? Yes, I do. But I also want to just be fair and make the case that it may not be everything that this guy says it is. So.
Well, and also to complete a financial transaction with Andreessen Horowitz, you're going to need a real law firm.
Of course.
Like they just come in and write checks. I mean, there's fucking disclosures and documents. I mean, having been involved in a lot of those rounds, it's not, the first thing that the lawyers look at on the investment side is they look at who is the target's lawyers. And if it's a top tier law firm, they're like, okay, cool. If it's not, they just laugh to each other and go, hey, what the fuck? And then they come in and just crush you.
Yeah.
But so it just doesn't, if there was like, say, pick top 5 law firm in the world representing Avalanche, and then all of a sudden this Roche Friedman guy shows up that looks like, he's been everything from a mortgage broker to a chiropractor to a fucking lawyer. I'm sorry, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying he's got hustle all over.
Yeah, totally.
I just don't see that happening either. But doesn't mean that there's not like some little side buddy deal, and that the Avalanche guy might have given him options on tokens, which could be done off book, so to speak.
Yeah,
it might have been options on his own personal tokens. I mean, there's the truth is usually somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So, well, and who knows? He claims in the interview to be living with the COO at Ava Labs. Mm-hmm. Says that they are all very tight. That they love him and all the work he does.
He's in Miami right now. Go down.
Yeah, yeah. Let's track him down. But the bottom line is here he is supposed to be being a law firm for a blockchain to grow the space, and he's out creating these class action lawsuits to take down other projects, right? And so it looks really bad. And secondarily, why the hell are you on the wrong side of this if you also represent Avalanche, that whose in best interest it is not to have the SEC digging deeper and deeper into projects, right? But makes him look bad.
It also doesn't. I remember this kind of being like a faux pas in crypto a couple of years ago. Sort of class action lawsuits against other. Lawyers were not. Big raises, of course, you need them, but this kind of like sleazy stuff, it was frowned upon. And I don't know how that's going to affect, say, the OG crypto cred people on this Avalanche dude. But it seems to me, if you're somehow in bed with class actions on, this is people who would make. I mean, I'm assuming they're not like the outright criminal fraud ones. I'm assuming it's people lost money in a token and they're coming and digging for a technical reason.
Yeah. That's it. Well, now he claims in this, hey, I've seen the insides of every cryptocurrency company, et cetera, because of discovery, because he sues half the companies in the space. And he says he knows the market better and where people are going, et cetera, et cetera. What Crypto Leaks took from that was that he's handing all this information off to Avalabs, to Amin and the team at Avalabs. That's the kind of shit that ends him up in jail, disbarred, sued the shit out of him, everything else. So as big a dick as he probably is, I have a hard time believing he's handing over discovery evidence to Avalabs. Really, it's hard for me to buy. But
yeah, it seems like a pretty big stretch because you're risking everything at that point.
Exactly. So anyway, this created a big firestorm yesterday. People kind of going nuts. AVAX dumped, but a lot of other shit was dumping yesterday too. Bottom line is, this is a bad look. Avalabs needs to fire him immediately. If there's, if he still isn't vested on all his tokens, probably claw that shit back, whatever, but needs to get away from him. Now, he did reply to all the shit and said, essentially what he said was, this guy was hired by one of the projects he's suing, ICP, Internet Computer, and he has a class action lawsuit against them. And they hired a fixer. The founder hired this fixer to pretend to be a potential client or VC deal or something, and then got him drunk and used leading questions to get this shit out of him. Right now, part of me says, you know what? I can see that feeds into kind of what I was talking about exaggerating all these claims about how tight his relationship is, et cetera, and what he's doing for Avalabs. But at the same time, it still doesn't explain away the fact that all of the shit he said on video, whether you're drunk or not, you either believe it's true or you don't. And you need to address every single thing that you said. But basically, he's saying, I was drunk. They got me drunk. They used leading questions. They only used parts of the video. And, this never happened. We don't have a secret pact, blah, blah, blah. So
a deliberate scheme to intoxicate. What a foot. What a wuss. Sorry.
And was he drunk in the office? Because they were having the first like 10 videos is from him in an office in a conference room.
Like when I first started work years ago, people had booze in the office.
Sure,
but that
absolutely.
lasted like maybe the early 90s, and that started disappearing. Getting drunk in the office, I haven't seen that happen in a long time. I mean, 20 plus years. You get drunk at happy hour. You don't get drunk in the
exactly.
office. That's just bad form.
Yeah. So look, I think there's somewhere in between the outright denial by Amin that he did yesterday, and he did deny it, said it never happened, blah, blah, blah. And this guy's exaggerated claims. I think it lays somewhere in the middle, right?
Well,
and the thing that Amin did, like Amin has done multiple tweets talking about how great Roche's law firm is and how powerful they are and how they're suing people, blah, blah, blah. And then announced that they are going to launch a litigation investment project on Avalanche, right? So it's like, okay, obviously you had some motivations to pump this guy up as this, ferocious attorney, but the whole thing just looks sleazy, sketchy, shitty. And no project of any quality should have an ongoing relationship with a guy like this.
No, and the guy just doesn't have the experience. I don't care. A young guy like that goes around suing people, but if you ever run up against a real hard target, they're gonna just rip your friggin' lunch, dude.
Exactly.
Because we don't know how dirty it really gets.
Yeah.
So I just think that this guy's talking a lot of fluff and hyperbole, and kind of reminds me a little bit of that guy out. Who was the guy who was involved in all those porn stars and Avenatti?
Oh yeah.
Just promoting themselves, and in the end, you cross too many people, and you end up in trouble. As
exactly.
Happened. So, because you're running really on the edge here of both ethics and legality in a lot of areas.
Yep.
And so, to me, I don't like to be the big out front person on anything.
Yeah.
But to be that as an advisor and as a lawyer, you're just really exposed.
Yeah. I will say this for him. He did sue Craig Wright.
Yeah.
And he claimed it was because Amin wanted him, or they claim in the article that it was because Amin hates him and wants him to do it. So because he doesn't like that Craig claimed to be Satoshi.
Well, nobody likes Craig Wright.
Of course, Amin, I didn't know this. Amin is no longer, he always uses the fact that he's a professor at Cornell. He's no longer a professor at Cornell. And he wrote a paper claiming to have invented components of what's in the Bitcoin blockchain capabilities years before Satoshi did. And then he wrote another piece and everyone just laughed at him. And then he wrote another piece and had it released pretending to be from someone else and talked about how brilliant it was, etc., which had to do something. I'll have to look it up. It had something to do with how Avalanche does shit. And then everybody caught on to the fact that it was him that actually wrote the paper, and him pretending to, and he had to admit that he was touting this research that backed him up. Oh, this is it. Research paper on IPFS. It describes a new family of consensus protocols that combines the best of Nakamoto consensus with the best of quality classical consensus. Huge breakthrough. He actually wrote the paper but was trying to get everyone to adopt it and say it's brilliant, blah blah blah. And then he had to admit that he actually wrote it and it wasn't him, even though he was touting it. So anyway,
there was something. I remember back in like 2017 when I started trying to dig in a little bit on this, and there was some stuff before. There was a field before Satoshi, and it wasn't distributed computing, but there was something. There was a field in the 90s where they were talking about a lot of the stuff that Satoshi ends up.
Well, yeah, I think there was a lot of early digital cash attempts. There were a lot of early peer-to-peer technology shit that was occurring, right? And I'm sure that a lot of that came from, a lot of what he incorporated came from those technologies. I think he even talked about them a lot in the forums and why he looked at it. But he talked about being inspired by the previous digital cash stuff. Peer-to-peer computing was actually growing pretty rapidly in the 90s. Yeah. So there was a lot for him to build on top of what other people's concepts and ideas and tests and experiments had been. So anyway, he's also the guy suing Solana. It's just, it's just a massive clusterfuck, and just makes everybody look bad, including the guys that wrote this. Number one, it's shitty writing. Number two, there's no, if you're going to be investigative reporters, I'm okay with you being anonymous, but back up everything you claim in the article. Don't make insinuations that he's using this in, don't make claims. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Sean, he said he cited them. Satoshi cited them in the white paper. So okay. I was right. Yeah. I knew I'd read it somewhere. But don't make claims that take one thing that the man said and insinuate that that's exactly what they're doing and that Ava Labs now has access to all this confidential data, because that he actually didn't say that in the videos that he's handing that data over, and there's no evidence of that. So, it's one thing to take the facts that you garner from the videos, talk about the things that he says and what those implications are for that. But, we can't have we can't have these investigations in crypto that aren't like, at least factual in terms of the conclusions they reach. So, but the whole thing is a total mess anyway.
Yeah, I don't.
This, by the way, they said that Brad Garlinghouse from XRP invested in Roche Friedman. Garlinghouse came out today and said, "No fucking way, never would invest in this joke."
Wow. So look, I'm not up on libel laws these days, but you put something like this in the New York Times and get ready for the doorbell to ring because you're getting served.
Hell yeah.
But how does it work in these types of blog posts or whatever these days, or these reports? I mean, because this reminds me of like an activist investor that's getting ready to short something, and they come in and they put a big hit piece on, and then start investigations, and then make money off the short.
Yeah, and they could have done that yesterday, right, with AVAX, but it actually turns this guy Roche is claiming that this is being done by Mr. Ager Hansen and Mr. Williams, who are employed by the founder of ICP, one of the firms that Roche is suing. So, Dominic Williams is the creator of the ICP token, and he hired Christian Ager Hansen to do this hit piece. That's who actually recorded the video. So he either fed that to crypto leaks, or he, is crypto leaks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now we don't have any proof that that's who this is, and he doesn't appear on any of the videos, but I assume he has good reason to believe that's who it is. And so anyway, it's a bit of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about ICP. I always just looked at it.
Internet Computer. They, they were a 2017 round.
Yeah, when I saw that hit the top 10 briefly last year, I was kind of like, start trimming.
Yeah,
we're digging deep here.
And I did a long thread just breaking down the claims and basically saying, look, we got to step back from this. Amin needs to refute it. The people that are working in AVAX, Avalanche protocols, etc., didn't do anything. And so, there's zero reason to take it out on the entire chain and protocol, but it certainly looks bad for the whole space.
Yeah, Amin does not look good here at all.
No. He looks like, frankly, at the least, he looks like what I already thought he was. At the worst, he looks a lot worse. So, it is.
Well, there's always one person at all these chains. I mean, who's the guy over at Phantom? Whatever. Is that the guy who's always causing trouble at Phantom? AYEOH or something?
Oh no, you're talking about the investor, the guy that what the hell is his name? Harry Yee, I think. He's similar personality.
I find that whole personality just foul.
I do too.
I just don't like it. But unfortunately, that's what you run into when everybody's fighting over money.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, so off that depressing topic, I found this. This is freaking awesome. In December of last year, Patrick McCrory put out this amazing fundamentals of cryptocurrency with a little bit of coding, security, how it all functions and works, a lot of Ethereum focused shit with a lot of big names in the space, kind of on the developer and research side of things. And it's completely free. You can go on and take this class. So if you know of anybody kind of Web 2 that is a developer in the rest of the world, not crypto, and they're curious, this to me would be a fantastic resource, because I started watching a couple of them just to check it out. And it's like really in-depth material. So I think it's a great introduction. Harry Yee, says Niblets. I think it's a great introduction to crypto, especially for people with a developer focus, but you don't have to be to get information out of this. It's a really fantastic set of classes. So thanks to Patrick McCrory for creating it. But again, I highly recommend it. The links will be in the show notes.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you try the coding exercise 1 or coding exercise 2?
No, I haven't tried any of the coding exercises. I just watched a few brief snippets of videos and went on. But the topics are awesome, and it looks really well done. So, I highly encourage you to share that, let other people know about it.
Why don't you put that in our notes or whatever?
I will.
The comment section right here or something. Yeah.
Oh, I could do that too. Sure.
Could do.
Pasting the link into the comments. Our buddy Fubar, like the day after we had him on, does this awesome. By the way, if you don't subscribe to his newsletter, you should. It's called The Variable. I'll put this link as well. Did an entire piece on NFT royalties, the problems with them, why they are difficult to make work, how they're not enforceable because they're based on centralized marketplaces where you've launched them, and goes into an entire kind of analysis and concept about what else he thinks the other options are for NFTs. But he debunks all the facts that all the stuff that people claim that you can build in these royalties forever. You can't. Talks about that it's incredibly difficult to enforce, that it makes it difficult for, while he understands that artists want to have a sustainable ongoing income, that it's difficult to do. So he suggests a few things. Creator-owned liquidity, where they hold back a portion of the supply of themselves, and then offer them later, or borrow against them after the value has gone up of the rest of the collection. Social leadership boards, to get people to just voluntarily send royalties in. So you highlight the people in their NFT that have actually contributed royalties back to you when they sold, giving you a percentage. Primary sales after proving yourself. So after you've built up an audience, doing more sales, you'll make more money. Companion works. So, all of the biggest ones have added other NFTs onto their existing collection. So you can start out small, do low priced initial offering. And then once people are enthusiastic about what you've built, add on other accessories and capabilities to the NFTs themselves. Endorsement of high quality derivative works can prove quite lucrative. So people that are creating, so your NFTs become very popular, people create a game around it or something else, you get paid for an endorsement of that. And I haven't dove into Harbinger taxes yet.
It's like a voluntary royalty.
Yeah. Each NFT owner makes a personal evaluation of their token's worth and pays a small percentage of that to the creator on a regular basis. Anyone can buy out the token at the current owner valuation at any time, preventing lowball valuations. If you smooth the payments rather than
fluidity,
discretize them, this is compatible with free transfers, solves the price oracle problem, and is decentralized. There are some tricky UX concerns here around what it means to own a token, but something worth exploring. So anyway, really cool. He just constantly puts out great content like this. So encourage everybody to go. Like I said, his newsletter has, articles all the time about different aspects of the space, things he's thinking about, things he thinks are important, technical articles.
Again, buddy, I can't see it on there. What is his
site? Say it again?
What's his site? I can't see it.
It's 0xfubar.substack.com. It's a newsletter on Substack.
Cool. I'm just getting in there now because I don't have his.
And I'll put it in the show notes, but 0x
Fubar. 0x, sorry.
Yeah.
Of course I put OX.
Now, one thing I wasn't aware of when we were getting into the whole Tornado Cash thing, I did not know this until this weekend. Tether says they will not freeze Tornado Cash addresses and is awaiting law enforcement's direct instructions. So that's impressive to me. They did not take the knee-jerk reaction of the published list and then go beyond that and ban anybody that had touched Tornado Cash, because that's not what the OFAC said to do, right? The OFAC wants wallets that were tied directly to it or that were doing laundering like the North Korean groups, but they never said that, okay, now you need to block everybody that's used Tornado Cash. So that's impressive. I want to give credit where credit's due. They are saying, look, nobody's told us to ban these other addresses, so we're not going to do it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, and also look, it's a clever thing too, because it sort of differentiates you from USDC.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you're going to see now when you're looking at pools, liquidity pools and things, or you're going to be like, well, I might as well just go with USDT so I don't have to worry about getting glitched up when some punk sends me 10 cents worth of tornado cash laundered crypto.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really smart move. The wait
No.
law enforcement instruction in the Bahamas.
Absolutely. Absolutely fascinating. So this is interesting. And I don't have complete detailed understanding of this, but this is just fascinating. So Bantech, he's a technical guy. I think he's a security analyst and developer. I can't remember what projects he's on right now. Hold on. Let me see what he says. Yearn. So this was interesting. He spun up 2,000 validators on the test net to draw a lewd picture on the graffiti wall. And since he said, since my estimate was that it would take 6 months, even with 0.5% of validators, I posted a small call for help. He said he started developing a server to distribute the pixels among independent parties more efficiently. And it turned out that his eagerness and client choice of Aragon Lighthouse, clients on the Ethereum network that approved blocks, unveiled a rare block validation bug. So bottom line is, what happened is as they were trying to do this crazy little project he was doing with all these validator nodes just for shits and giggles, it turned out that he found a bug that could have been kind of devastating for the merge. So just thought it was really interesting that kind of sometimes the silliest, stupidest experiments people do actually end up helping the cause anyway. So anyway, Joe, that's all I got for today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm exhausted, man.
Yeah,
I'm wiped. I'm.
Well, no, man, you look good though for.
Oh, thanks.
Being in a COVID petri dish.
Oh, I did get into a big fight. I did get into a brawl with Nope, it's Lily. You know who she is?
Nope, it's Lily. No, I don't.
She's an analyst. She's a chief investment officer at a firm that she started, and a very well respected financial TradFi crypto person, right? Everybody follows her. Everybody follows Nope, it's Lily. So she tweeted out this thing that said, let me find the tweet. I guess we'll go down this rabbit hole real quick.
No, fine. That's good. That's be cool.
Well, you made me think of it because you said that I look good, and I realized this weekend that my Twitter,
was I being sexist?
My COVID coma may have made me not as rational as my responses, but only find her
a little bit more pissy. Is that what?
A little more pissy, yes. I'm trying to find, because she quote tweeted me, but she put up this tweet and basically said, and didn't qualify it, right? She basically said, anonymous founders, we shouldn't be investing at all in anonymous founders, right? And she was immediately like called out. Like everybody in crypto were like all fucking over it. Her original tweet was, can we agree finally this past cycle showed that having anonymous founders often got not even known to investors is a bad idea for a thing you put money into. So my response was, well, no, that isn't a bad idea. And you shouldn't blanket, everyone under that. And everyone kind of came in. I did a bunch of tweets to her about saying, hey, you can't blanket say this about every anonymous developer when the same shit happens in TradFi. This is stupid. And the people in crypto that were the most problem in the last few months were people that were doxxed at centralized companies. So this is ridiculous, right? So she and I are going back and forth arguing, blah, blah, blah. And then she deleted the tweet, the original tweet. So I did a thread saying, basically here's my problems with this shit, right? And I said, it's too important to let it die. She's too much of an influencer. So she tried to backtrack and claim that what she meant was custody, and what she meant was not all of them are bad, and blah, blah, blah. And I basically said, look, if that's what you meant, I'll take you at that being your original intent, but you need to say that in the tweet because you have wielded too much influence in the financial markets. And when you say that all anonymous founders it's a bad idea to put money into, you're harming people who are ethical, honest, good people in this space who are building really cool shit. So anyway, we ended up making nice. She did a tweet thread where she explained what she originally meant. And I said, that's all sounds pretty reasonable. You know, maybe not be quite so brusque in your original tweet, blanket, making negative comments about people that are anon. So anyway, it was a fun experience. But
yeah, no, it looks cool, man. I'm glad to see you engaging with the big time.
you know,
It seems. Go ahead. Sorry.
that's look. I mean, the funny thing is the only reason I responded to it is I have a shit ton of respect for her. Right? She's brilliant. I mean, the shit she puts out is just brilliant, and she's an important figure in the space, and she gets crypto. So to me, it was important because of that influence and because so many people in the space respect her, for me to respond to her. I mean, other people responded as well and tore her up as well, and I think she realized it, but I think it was also difficult for her to admit it. So
yeah,
thanks, Jizzy.
I mean, hey, yeah, thanks, buddy. Look, we heard one point here about lack of recourse, excuse me. That is a big thing. And, she shouldn't have waded into this topic, half cocked, because obviously it's core to so many of, like you said, developer security and things like that, but it can get misused.
This thread is her original speech. Her response that I actually felt like was reasonable. Right. This thread you're seeing on screen now was her response to me explaining basically what she really meant.
It wasn't like just a blurb, not irrational, but not completely contextually thought out properly.
Yeah, her original tweet was stupid. And I think she was admitting that by deleting it and then clarifying. Right.
No, it makes sense. I think that's the good move. But I do think that, it's almost like there has to be something in the middle here. And, to get the bad actors. And again, we have this discussion all the time because we said the same thing about Tornado Cash. Yeah, we have one big bad actor and we got a whole bunch of legitimate actors there. Yeah. But I almost wish someone could come out. If someone could come out with, the Bitcoin proof of work, blockchain algorithm, whatever you want to call it, it seems to me like you could do a double layered one somehow where identities are registered, let's say, somewhere, but they're blind and they never can be. I mean, again, I'm just spitballing here, so I'm not trying to create a big everybody attack me thing, but where something, where you could have the anonymity, but then at the same time, if you did turn out to be a financial swindler or a hustler, there was a place for people to go
unlock it. I think that's a brilliant idea. Now, there are services doing it now. So I know that a number of the auditors in the space are actually doing doxing, private doxing. And then if something goes to shit, they'll release it, but it's not automated on chain. I'd much rather it be something like on chain. And then what's that site called? I think it's called Rug.
No, rug.com or something like that, or
yeah. Anyway, they also offer a service like that where a founder can dox to them. They verify identity, they verify IDs, and they have that on record so that they can say publicly, we know who the founders are, and if shit goes south, we're gonna reveal it, right? Yeah. But I would love to see it as a service like that.
Well, yeah, because then if anything goes wrong like that, some trigger gets pulled, then it becomes party to the lawsuit process at that point.
Exactly.
Where you could serve that entity with a lawsuit.
Exactly.
And then somehow it's evaluated whether you ever get, revealed or not. You have to have pretty tight rules, obviously. There's a lot of potential issues here, but something needs to be done for that because you just can't have $45 billion face plants. And I'm not saying the Terra guys are all out there. The 3AC guys are all out there, but I'm saying there's other ones too. Yeah, and that's what we need to be most careful of. I mean, I'm thinking mainly of like the rebasing ones.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fun, but that a lot of that looks like a big old hustle now. So What do we
So
got?
I was having a chat with somebody named Smoothbot that has a really cool project. We're gonna it's got some delta neutral trading capabilities, and I'm going to be interviewing here in the next
Cool.
couple of weeks. But this was really nice, so I thought I'd share it with you, Joe. He said, I told him I was going to quote him. He said, "Love DeFi lunch. It's like crypto therapy. Just sit back, listen to you two, mostly talking smack while I'm driving or doing chores. Love it." So we're now therapists. We're giving people their therapy.
So not only do we have a media exemption because now we're media people, but now we have a medical exemption because we're therapists. Now all we got to do is become lawyers.
That's it. That's
So
it.
we can say
we'll be covered. We got it all.
Yeah.
All right, I'm out. Hey, everybody, thank you for listening and watching. We love you and appreciate you. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Niblets. Thank you, Shizzy, for participating today. Thank you, Smoothbot, for being a listener and for your kind words in our chat earlier. Really appreciate everybody coming and joining us and talking. If you have any thoughts or ideas, feedback, or criticism, don't hesitate to message me directly, DM on Twitter and Telegram, B05 Crypto, on Discord, B05 Crypto pound 2143. Otherwise, you can find past shows and all of my Mission DeFi interviews on missiondefi.com. Don't hesitate to head over there, and make sure you click the little bell on YouTube. And please, if you get a chance, just take a few minutes, head over to Apple Podcasts, rate and review us. Tell your friends about us. Tweet about the show if you like it. We always love to hear the feedback, and we'd love to spread the word and grow our audience even bigger. So thank you very much. Joe, I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, you too, buddy. And, tomorrow we'll touch a little bit on the macro scene going on.
Beautiful.
I just don't want to give it like a 15-second thing at this point because there's too much to talk about. But, to be expected, basically. And thank you very much for listening. And thank you, Brad. I'm glad you guys are feeling better.
Thanks, buddy.